There's a lot of talk about whether AI is going to kill software as a service. And as someone with a software as a service business, I'm going to share my perspective as to what I think the industry is actually going to look like going forward and where you can stand out if you have a software business. So first off, if you have a software business or a SaaS product, we'll go over ways that you can bulletproof yourself against AI and against people being able to use AI tools to create a clone of your service. And if you're thinking about getting into SaaS, but you're worried about AI being able to make your service obsolete, then hopefully I'll give you a few insights as to what it actually looks like as someone in the industry. Who am I and why should you care what I have to say about software? Well, I actually run a SaaS business called Leads Autopilot. It's an automation tool for LinkedIn and has currently 72 paying users. The price of the software is $99 per month for your first seat and $75 per month after that. So you guys can do the math. And the people who use this service, they're paying for convenience and results. They can try to string together different providers to automate activity on their LinkedIn, but they choose to go with my service because, as it entails in the name, everything is done for them on autopilot. So I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment and basically give credence to the idea that you can use AI and vibe coding tools to replicate a SaaS product, and therefore if anyone can do it, then everyone is just going to build their own software products for their specific use case, and no one is going to buy SaaS. This is the argument that you hear people say. And what these people will say is that the market will want to customize the software however they want. They'll say that the market would prefer to have their own solutions because they don't have to wait for updates. They can just tell Claude or Lovable what updates they want to make, and it will be done instantly. And these people will say that it's cheaper to do this because they don't have to pay a monthly subscription. Now something I want to clarify is that these points are not often made by the end users. I don't see too many conversations where someone says, oh, I wanted to buy the SaaS product, but actually I just made it all myself. You'll be very hard pressed to find people who say this. What you will find, however, is people who will tell you that software is over because you can build it yourself. So you'll have to look at their intentions and what they have to gain by saying that. Now, the real problem behind this logic is that most people, even if they had the best skills, the best prompting knowledge to get an LLM to build out this project for them, most people don't even know what to build. They don't know the steps involved to get to their dream outcome. Because remember this, people do not buy a product to get the features. They buy a product to get an end result, a dream outcome. And if they don't know what to do to get to that dream outcome, they can have all the tools in the world to build it. They just won't know what to build. For example, there's a cold email tool called Instantly. It allows you to contact people via cold email and also lets you warm up your accounts on their platform. So basically you connect your email and they have their set of inboxes that will send emails back and forth between the two to warm them up to make it look like it's real human activity before you begin doing outreach. Now, let's say you knew how all of this worked behind the scenes. You'd still need to know how sending domains work, how to warm up accounts, and you'd need to know the limits of different platforms, like how many email inboxes can I connect per domain if I'm using Gmail versus Outlook. You would need to know the answers to these questions, and more importantly, you'd need to know to ask these questions in the first place. For someone who just wants to get clients, that's their dream result. And maybe they've heard about email as a way to do it. They don't know all these details yet. Sure, they can research it, but that's just added friction. That's more time and energy that they'll have to invest into getting it right instead of just paying somebody who's already set it up for them. Because you can use the default settings on these platforms and get results. That's why they're the default settings, because they know that most people are just going to leave it as is. Now, the second reason that AI is not going to replace software is that most people can't vibe code. I know you're in this world where everyone around you has been using the latest AI tools to build their products, but for the vast majority of people, they've only sort of heard about Lovable if they've heard about AI coding at all. And I would implore you to find a non-technical CEO who has used Lovable and then see what they've built. And you'll just be astonished at how convoluted their entire app is, and you'll realize how much of a nightmare it is to maintain it. But the thing is, you won't actually have to maintain it because the people who build out these products, they quickly realize that they don't know what to do to actually make it work. So where can you actually stand out with your SaaS product knowing that AI is a thing? I think the two areas where you can stand out are in branding and support. We all know the example of you have a $5 bag and you put a Prada logo on it, and now it's worth several thousands of dollars. We all know this idea with branding. And for myself personally, there are tools that I use simply because they feel nice to use. It's a good, smooth experience. It doesn't feel clunky. And then I associate that with the brand and the company that made it. So there's an aspect of that in software development. Another thing is support. If I feel like, and most consumers will feel the same way, that whenever there's a problem, I can reach out to support and they will either tell me what to do to solve it, or they will actually go out and solve the problem and push an update to their product. then now I've developed an affinity with this brand and I would not want to switch, because switching to another competitor could mean that they don't have as good of support. These are the two areas that you can immediately stand out in. And the final argument I have is simply the nature of division of labor. People are not going to build out a SaaS product when it would be cheaper to pay someone else to do it, when you account for the time and effort it takes to build it. When you account for the fact that you have to figure out what the problem is, figure out the steps required to solve it, and figure out how to implement it, and figure out how to put all this together into a usable product, you quickly realize that it's easier to pay somebody else. And this is something we intuitively know. You can cook all your own food, you can clean your place, you can wash all your clothes, you can do this yourself, or you can pay somebody else to do it. And this person can do it quicker than you, and the cost of their labor might be less than yours. It's simply economics. So as it stands, people building out their own custom AI software products are not economical. People don't know how to do it. So when you decide to build out a SaaS product, you can still make crazy money with it. So what do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. If you have a software company or you're thinking about getting into SaaS, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this topic. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.